Do you struggle with feeling like your business is all on you? Do you struggle with thoughts like this has to work, this has to hit the mark, this needs to be profitable? If this doesn't work, I'm going to die. If you think any of these thoughts as an entrepreneur who also wants to involve God in their life and their business, this episode is for you. This episode is going to be a short and sweet episode for the times that you need just a kick in the behind because you are feeling sad, frustrated, or discouraged about your business. And this episode is definitely for my dream chasing possibility mamas who are chasing the dream of building a business and building wealth for your family. You have heard me talk about this topic. It is near and dear to me. But of course, there will be nuggets in here that will help you for sure, even if you are not building a business. So I am currently on day 2 of my personal branding bootcamp, which is a live experience that I'm delivering. This is the 4th time I'm delivering this bootcamp. And this is content that is included inside of my Wealth Without Guilt group coaching experience that I shared with you last week on the podcast. And there was a coaching experience inside of the boot camp that I want to share with you. This particular person, an amazing mama, was sharing thoughts around I'm not hitting the mark. And it was interesting because the thoughts were all very much this isn't working. Why isn't this working? This should be working by now. And as she was talking, I couldn't help but hear myself. And this is a journey I have been on. I'm still on this journey. I am still working to heal a lot of this. And it's the journey of ungodly self reliance. What do I mean by this? Ungodly self reliance is something that I think shows up in entrepreneurship, it can show up in many other facets. And it's this sense of having to control everything. Now, this is relevant to all. This is not just relevant to entrepreneurs. You can have ungodly self-reliance in the way that you approach your marriage, in the way that you approach your parenting, in the way you approach your home. But I'm speaking really specifically today to people who have this sense of ungodly self-reliance in their business. And what does this look like? It looks like a need to control. It looks like a need to do everything yourself, to do everything perfectly, to nail every sale, every consult, every landing page, every event. And here's the reality. You're not gonna. Because if you could, you'd already be doing it. You know what I mean? And it's also just not the reality of human behavior. Not everything works out in life. So when something in your business doesn't work out, so for example, you don't hit a sales goal, or you launch something to crickets, or you do an experience that worked last time but doesn't work this time, whatever it is, XYZ, we can get into this space of this is all my fault. And it's only natural because, of course, as entrepreneurs, as the people who create the content, we're the ones opening our mouths. We're the ones who are saying things like, hi, join me in my 5-day challenge. Hi, come attend my webinar, whatever it is, right? But what we need to do instead, especially when something doesn't work out, is instead of turning inward and going to shame and blame and guilt on ourselves, we need to seek how this experience might be part of our unique call to sanctity. How might this failure, how might this challenge, how might this particular situation actually be God's way of making us more holy and more the person we are destined to become? And when we can go to that space of God, this is all yours anyway. And I really want to recommend, if you have not listened to my episode on ungodly, who do you work for? What does it mean to work for God? It's episode 18, and we will put that episode in the show notes. I really want to encourage you to go back and listen to episode 18 on what does it mean to work for God. Because here's the truth. Whatever goal you're pursuing, whether it be $1,000,000, whether it be $1,000, whether it be $100, whatever it is, the reality is it could be gone tomorrow. You could build and build and build and build, and then something unfortunately tragic happens and it's gone. Everything in our lives, the breath that we breathe, the beat of our hearts, every single thing is from God, including our ability to create wealth and impact in our businesses. And as I was sharing today in my boot camp that is part of my Wealth Without Guilt group coaching experience, I was like, I think for Catholics and Christians, it can be easy to give God a lot of things. You know, if you are of the same mindset as me, of the same worldview as me, you can invite God into your marriage. You can invite God into the way you parent. You want your children to also love Jesus. And so there's certain things that you do to ensure that happens. You might read the Bible with them, you might pray with them, you might model and have experiences in your home that are of that worldview. It can be easier, I think, and you almost can see the evidence of it more in things like motherhood, in things like your marriage. But why would we not extend that exact same logic to the way we make money and remind ourselves, actually, yeah, I don't work for myself, although that is a true statement, but really I work for God. And all of this is yours. And whether or not, Lord, I make $1,000,000 or not, it's because of you and because it's your will for my life. And I want to read you the thoughts that we came up with, or that this beautiful woman who had the bravery to be coached live in this boot camp experience. Her original thought was all around not doing enough. And her old thought was, I'm just not hitting the mark. And the new thought that she came up with through coaching was, God will guide me to the right mark. And the reality of that statement and that this example that I'm illustrating here is that the first phrase, I'm not hitting the mark, is not going to serve you in whatever you're doing. If you're having thoughts of, I'm just not good enough, I'm not hitting the mark, I'm never going to hit the mark, this is never going to work, why isn't this working? That is going to do nothing but not serve you. It's simply going to deter you. It is simply going to make you discouraged. It's simply going to do what we call in the coaching world be graspy. Like when you are trying to make money, you're going to be like, oh, I really need to like make money. So I'm going to like run a promotion, or I'm going to drop my prices, or like, oh, this really needs to work. But instead, if we can go to a place of, Lord, this is all yours anyway. I'm going to surrender it all to you. I'm going to surrender the most minute details of my business and get to a place of God will guide me to the right mark that is going to serve us in the most abundant and most beautiful of ways. And so I knew I couldn't keep this thought to myself. I knew I had to share this beyond the walls of my Wealth Without Guilt group coaching because it's just too good a thought to not share. If you have thoughts of I'm just not hitting the mark, I want to invite you to adopt a thought like God will guide me to the right mark. And this is the answer to self reliance, ungodly self reliance. This is the answer to involving God in every aspect of our lives, including the way we make money. We simply surrender it the way we surrender other things in our lives. And experience will show you, I promise it will, that the same trials you had that you were able to get on the other side of in motherhood or in life or in marriage, where trusting God was the answer, you can do the exact same thing as a Jesus loving entrepreneur. You work for God, invite Him into the minute details of your business. And I promise you, incredible things will happen, all according to His holy will for your life. Melody says here that God is truly the greatest. Amen, my friend. This is your short and sweet little kick in the behind when you just need a little message of encouragement when you are feeling sad in your business. All right, friends. I love spending time with you. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and we will connect again next week.